Part 41, Newborns and Negative Thoughts. Listen to a fragment of Spiritual Energy Sayings with the topic Newborns and Negative Thoughts by Lubisha Stoyanovich, who transferred the sayings received in deep meditation to the book, The Culture of Energy Living. Unfortunately, there is a not so small number of babies, aged from a few days to 2 years old, who suffer from various serious chronic diseases, most often of unknown cause, sometimes called genetic or without any diagnosis. In the vast majority of cases, these diseases are the result of stress and negative thoughts that the mother and the child had during pregnancy, during the birth itself, or during the first few months of the child's life. If mothers were told this, the answer was often, well, how can a baby have negative thoughts? People do not even know the truth that the causes of over 80% of all chronic diseases are negative thoughts and stress. If they were to accept this for adults, it would not seem possible for them that a baby has stress and negative thoughts. What's this all about? From these cases of moderate and severe diseases of newborns and children up to 2 years of age, we will exclude 2 causes, which are not rare, but do not belong to this group. These are the consequences of taking medicines during pregnancy, which are prohibited for pregnant women, and another, much more common cause is the stay of a pregnant woman, especially in the first 2 months of pregnancy, in environments with highly polluted air, such as chemical factories, oil refineries, and in general the environment in which the content of smog in the air is above the permitted limit. Therefore, we will exclude these cases which are known to medicine, and which represent the material causes of illness in infants. I want to talk about the devastating impact of stress and negative thoughts on the fetus in the mother's womb, then during the birth itself and during the first few years after the birth of the child. Stresses and negative thoughts that a pregnant woman has damage not only her aura, but also the aura of the baby. At the same time, these damages in the pregnant woman will cause diseases and ailments similar to those that she would have even if she was not pregnant. The situation is completely different with the fetus. A man's aura is created at the same time as the egg is fertilized, but like a fetus, it develops gradually. Aura, therefore, like a fetus, develops starting from the embryo, only to be fully developed around the age of 15. During the first month of pregnancy, the aura consists of an extremely weak energy structure, similar to a flickering candle flame, which can easily be damaged by some energy. Because of this, the negative thoughts and stresses of the mother, which also pass through the sensitive aura of the fetus, are much more harmful to her than to the aura of the mother. This can be compared to the impact of a shell on the upper floors of a multi-story building in relation to the impact on its foundations, which represents the first months of the life of a fetus. Certainly, the danger to the entire building will be greater in the event of a shell hitting its foundations. Damage to the aura in the first months of the fetus's life is not removed by itself later, so the aura continues to develop in an irregular manner, which gradually leads to the appearance of serious damage to the fetus. Of course, mild stress and occasional negative thoughts will not lead to serious damage to the aura, nor to deformities and diseases of the fetus. This refers primarily to long-term stressful situations or certain serious stresses, as well as to a large number of negative thoughts of a pregnant woman. In particular, that critical first month of pregnancy is often accompanied by a series of stressful situations such as finding out about an unwanted pregnancy, whether to keep the baby or not, the dilemma of whether her boyfriend will want to marry her since she got pregnant, and many others, which further damages the aura of the fetus. These dangers to the aura of the fetus decrease with its development, but they continue to exist until delivery. Another critical moment for the child's health is the birth itself. Civilization has changed not only the body of a woman, but also her psychological attitude towards childbirth. Compared to the time when we were much more in harmony with nature, it is much more difficult for women to give birth today, while childbirth itself represents a great stress for most of them. In normal births, there is also severe pain for the mother and baby. They caused stress and waves of negative thoughts in both mother and child, with the fact that the child's delicate aura suffers more. Fortunately, in these, let's call them normal births, the damage to the baby's aura is quite mild and does not lead to the appearance of illnesses, especially not moderate and severe ones. And what about difficult childbirth? Difficult deliveries usually last for a very long time, during which the woman in labor suffers, often excruciating pain. However, the pain experienced by the baby is particularly dangerous, because it causes very harmful stress and negative thoughts. The most dangerous, certainly, is the fear that the baby experiences due to the feeling that it is in mortal danger. Fear of danger to one's life is the most harmful and destructive and negative thought that damages the aura of not only adults but also babies. The combined harmful effect of the baby's negative thoughts caused as a result of pain and fear for life maximally damages its aura, which most often leads to the appearance of moderate and severe diseases, immediately after birth or during the first year of life. Sometimes, due to an extremely difficult delivery, a cesarean section is resorted to, which saves her life, but even in these cases, the baby has already endured many hours of pain, suffering and fear that caused great damage to its aura, which often soon leads to serious illnesses. The third crisis period covers the first year of life. During this period, night waking and crying of the baby, outside of the regular waking up for eating, are especially dangerous. What's the problem here? If the cub of any animal wakes up at night and does not feel the touch of its mother's body, it starts calling for its mother, because it instinctively knows that its life is in danger if its mother does not appear. The baby also experiences the same thing when it wakes up and does not feel the touch of its mother's body, because its instinct is still so strong that, due to fear for its life, it emits strong negative thoughts that damage its aura. If this happens night after night and more than once during the night, it must lead to serious damage to the aura. Many mothers do not respond to this child's cry for protection, because they have not yet recovered from childbirth, and they are exhausted from lack of sleep and continuous engagement around the baby during the day. Their mothers, aunts and grandmothers therefore advise them, let him cry, he will gradually get used to it, and you have to rest. However, they are wrong. Babies who cry inconsolably night after night often suffer from mild and medium diseases. It is usually enough for a baby to just feel the mother's hand to calm down and avoid later health problems. Of course, there are other, more or less crisis periods during childhood, but their significance for the child's psychophysical health is still less than the three mentioned. I will mention the birth of a younger brother or sister, which often, even temporarily, occupies the attention of the parents, which creates fear and sadness in the older child that the parents no longer love and protect him or her. Sometimes, unreasonable parents publicly state that they prefer one over their other children. Divorce of parents represents the next crisis moment, because of which children usually suffer extremely. For this reason, parents should think carefully about whether some of their objections to their partner's behavior or inconsistencies in any respect are more important than the happiness and health of their children. Kindergarten or daycare can create great repulsion and psychological trauma in a child, if the child does not encounter love and protection from the teachers, as well as other children. Then the children refuse to go to the daycare, and if they are taken against their will, they cry and often cling to their parents' clothes, not wanting to be separated from them. The main reason for sending children to these communities is, certainly, the employment of both parents, as well as the desire for children to play and socialize with other children. However, in the case of children who find it difficult to accept daycare, it is necessary for the parents to think carefully about another possibility that would protect the psychophysical health of the children, by having one of the parents stay at home, or for a grandmother or grandfather to stay with the children. Regardless of the shortcomings of these variants in financial, educational, or any other respect, those for children who feel bad in daycare still represent a way to preserve health, which is incalculably more important. There are other types of separation of children from their parents, for a short or long time, in the countryside with grandparents, other relatives, or acquaintances, staying in the hospital and the like, which can also have an extremely stressful effect on children. One of the frequent stressful situations is the scaring of the younger ones by older children, sometimes also by adults who do it for fun or sadism. This not only leads to immediate stress and negative thoughts, but often extends its negative effects throughout life. When a cat accidentally jumps into a baby's crib, she or he experiences it the same way as when a tiger jumps into an adult's bed, and when the baby screams in tears because of that, we comfort her, "Nothing, nothing, it's just a kitty." Parents, most often, cannot understand that children experience different unpleasant situations differently and much more violently than adults. In several cases, I pointed out to parents whose child suffered from some chronic diseases that the child's nervous system is not functioning well and that this is always the result of stress and negative thoughts. They usually denied this possibility, claiming that their child was loved and pampered, and when I presented them with possible situations, they quickly agreed with me that there was such a thing, but they could not believe that it could lead to such serious consequences. With this, I tried to point out some, but not all, situations and periods in childhood that lead to the appearance of strong stress and negative thoughts and that can seriously damage the child's aura and lead to medium and severe chronic diseases. I did this because the vast majority of people do not know that the majority of chronic diseases are the result of negative thoughts and stress, and the minority who are somewhat aware of this fact ignore this danger. The treasury of sacred knowledge is grateful for your interest and sends you a lot of spiritual patience and love.